Hey guys, welcome back to another show. I'm really excited about my guest today. I'm going to bring her on the stage in a second. She's a legend in our field. She's been a pioneer in this field for almost 3 decades, and it's KERRY CASSIDY from Projectcamelot. I wrote today, legendary Projectcamelot founder and investigative researcher KERRY CASSIDY joins Typical Skeptic podcast. KERRY will discuss her latest research surrounding Enki, the Anunnaki, inner Earth civilizations, mysterious ancient tablets, and what she calls the close of the human experiment. KERRY has spent nearly 3 decades interviewing whistleblowers, military insiders, experiencers, and secret space program operatives, including hidden narratives, including extraterrestrial races, covert technologies, multidimensional warfare, AI agendas, and classified government operations. And honestly, it's always an honor when I get to interview KERRY because I was watching her stuff back in 2013 before, before any of this was big. And, yeah, she really influenced me a lot. And bring her to the stage now. KERRY, thanks so much for coming back on. Welcome. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. I was just posting the links there. So just let me close this window. Okay, so hi, how are you?
Been pretty good. I mean, considering, it seems like a lot of people are being targeted and stuff like that, and people are getting sick. But then I think people just get sick too. But I mean, I don't know. I can't tell you what's going on in this community. I mean, it seems like we're in like a spiritual war or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
You want to hear a funny story before we get into? Someone told me
yeah,
today they
let's
were like,
whatever.
you should
Yeah,
quit your
go ahead.
podcast. I said she said you should switch directions on your podcast. I'm like, I'm not going to stop now. I was like, we're like in a war and we're like on the front lines taking.
You write the words. What if you could hear them as a song? Go to suno.com, switch to custom mode, and paste in your lyrics. Then describe the sound. I'll go with soulful R&B ballad, emotional vocals, piano driven. Hit create. Suno turns your writing into 2 fully produced songs. Your words sung back to you with real production behind them. Now shape it. Remix to hear your lyrics in a completely different genre. Rewrite sections to tighten the phrasing. Extend to build the full track. You can also use Suno to face writer's block head on. Create new lyrical ideas and flourishes that you can then reinsert to complete your composition. Your lyrics fully produced from a paste and a prompt. See what your words can become. Subscribe at suno.com.
Well, it's an event that Juan's putting on. He's having 500 people. I think they're pretty close to selling out. At a Vegas hotel, the Ahern, where they're going to do this. He's actually providing all the food for all 3 days, which is insane for 500 people.
Wow, that's
You
insane.
can imagine how much that's going to cost him. But he's, he has a flat rate that, so if you haven't, I don't know if they have any tickets, but if you wanted to go, it's $350 for the whole thing, which is very reasonable for 3 days and nights. And I don't know a whole lot about their agenda, like what they're going to talk about. I know they're going to have Jim Caviezel and his new movie called, I forget, but there's a new movie out and he's going to show that movie at night on the first night, so it's the 15th, 16th, and 17th. And
Okay.
So on the 15th, he's going to show that movie at the night. During the days, they're going to be having a lot of financial pundits in theory that are going to be telling us how we've been ripped off over the ages, I guess, and maybe throwing out some solutions and whatnot. He has talked a lot about fraud, and one of their focuses is on the bonds. So the school bonds and that's that linked to a lot of other things, including real estate. So all of that has been a farce, and there's so much fraud involved. So I guess they're going to, talk about all that stuff. They're going to talk about, I guess, Sean Taylor. I think he's all about the children that are being, they're trying to rescue, and the adrenochrome, what I call the adrenochrome highway, which is, adrenochrome, and
Can I ask you a question? Would you be one of the only people there representing like the ET angle? Because like or do more of these people get into like the ET stuff? Like it seems like it's more like a political type.
Yeah, sadly. Well, I actually said to him that I have this what do you call WhatsApp, or not WhatsApp, direct messages, messages. So as far as I know, my messages go through. I've never been blocked, but I don't know if you ever know if you're blocked, right? How do you know? So anyway, he may never see them. NSA probably reads them. I have no idea what else, CIA, I'm sure. So I'm a person of interest, as they say. So anything, anything they want to pay attention to, they will. And I write to him a lot. I rant at him a lot behind the scenes and so on. But so that's what's happening there. I think this is like a preclude, or not a preclude, but a preview of what's coming on the financial side of the story. Okay.
Yeah.
So this war we're in, there's a lot of focus today on X, all about Israel and them trying to merge the Israeli military with ours, which is incredibly insane.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether that's ever going to happen, I sort of doubt it. I don't think the people in charge of the United States want to just give up their the one arm that is actually, the big guns are really running the show right now. So it's because the Trump and the team and Secret Space Force has the big guns, the big, directed energy weapons, control of the particle beam weapons, everything else. This is what gives them the edge. So I don't think they're going to give that up. I don't think they're going to share that with anyone. So I'm not sure what kind of, game is being played with this whole thing about Netanyahu, which I thought was dead. I'm totally, confused about that because, I really thought he died. But anyway, so
wait, I got a question to ask you. My friend really wanted me to ask you this question. I never throw out curveball questions, but this is more just I want to get your opinion on it. So my friend Colleen told me today, she said that there's an article. She sent me the article. I guess 30 agricultural drones were stolen, and the FBI or CIA cannot locate them. Have you heard about this? And
no.
What is it? It's crazy, right? It's how did things like this happen? I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I think there are traitors in our midst. I definitely think the whole stolen election reflects that. How much house cleaning they've been able to do, I don't know, but I know they're always trying to, clean up their house, so to speak. And there's this big platform being built at the White House. I guess you saw that, right? It's all on the screen. And that suggests that they're going to, that's being set up for, I don't know, shall I say hangings? I mean, I'm not interested in watching fucking hangings, but other people supposedly are. But, I'd like to see people go to jail, go to prison for their crimes, obviously take them off the street, especially the pedos, and the Faucis of the world. And so, but anyway, just saying that that's happening. There's a really interesting post today on X that said that there was a pulse that came from, they said all the pyramids. I think they might have meant all the pyramids in Giza. I don't think they meant all the pyramids around the world, but still, even all the pyramids in the Giza area and the general Egypt area, because there are hidden ones there. They said a pulse went through them, came through them. So I don't know what that's about. I don't know if it's true. If you're in Egypt and you saw something weird, maybe you could text us or get on the chat and so on and so forth. But anyway, that's one thing that sounds like it's happening. Then there was another odd sort of headline saying that Netanyahu, supposedly he was on TV. I never watched TV, but someone visiting me turned it on. And so he was saying that Israel and Iran have decided to make peace. So that was just a general statement. I don't know what's behind it. I don't know if it's actually true.
Did you see what happened yesterday? So supposedly, I don't know if you saw this, but supposedly they started raining down missiles on each other. Because I guess Israel hit Beirut with I guess Trump was trying to make a peace deal and then, or send his bullet points over. Then Netanyahu goes and decides to bomb Beirut, and then Iran started like raining down missiles. They said they were going to rain down missiles on Israel for 7 days or some ballistic missile. You know, I mean, I was like, it's crazy. I'm like kind of like that America First movement. I feel like we should be like, you know, like here and like, I don't know, but obviously we have business over there. You know, I try to, you know.
Well, no, I mean, you know, and I can get into this story. Okay. So, you know, obviously if you have an agenda that you want me to cover, you can let me know, but I can definitely tell you some stuff about this situation. So what happens is, first of all, keep in mind that mutually assured destruction is never a viable avenue. So
Yeah.
when you're talking about them raining missiles down on each other, that's just insanity. Okay. It doesn't really help anybody. Like, what does even bombing help? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, unless you decide you're just going to bomb the shit out of it, like we did with Iraq, and then take over the country. But, you know, it's just too, you know, many military, it's too intensive to take over a country. Okay. That's insane. I think you need to let the country run itself, but you need to put parameters, you know, limitations, and it's then keeping track of the limitations. So let me just say that I've been really getting deep into the Anunnaki, to the return of the Anunnaki via Three Eye Atlas, which no one is talking about this, and it's driving me crazy. You know, they were supposed to go through our solar system and leave. Well, they didn't leave. They parked themselves right near Jupiter. They're still there, to my understanding. Okay. And there were remote viewers, myself included. I know Sebastian Martin has a very good track record. I think, you know, let's see, Courtney Brown, his remote viewers have a good track record. We all viewed some form of reptilian humanoids on the ship. Okay. In Sebastian Martin and myself and maybe one other person, we saw troops as well. But in my case, I saw troops in sort of a stasis situation where they were actually, now, you know, this is a technology we don't have, obviously, but there were photographs being sort of projected from the vehicle to show people that they had troops, but the troops weren't actually there physically. So their pictures, their images were there on the ship, supposedly. So maybe their bodies, but they, you know, their whatever you want to say, what animates their bodies. So it may be a spirit soul complex. It may be, you know, in the case of the Anunnaki, because they're reptilian humanoid hybrids, it's hard to say what kind of motivates them to do what they do as individuals and then follow orders and all that kind of thing. But if people can kind of go on that visually on the trip that I'm sort of showing, then you can understand that there is something up with Three Eye Atlas, and no way is it there to be our friend. You know,
I got a question about that.
People out there that are so deluded and they've got no clue whatsoever. I'm sorry to say. And I have a lot of I just went out by myself and said this, and then a bunch of people also came out and said the same thing. So there seems to be a consensus, at least, that Three Eye Atlas is occupied and controlled by the you know, the Anunnaki. Go ahead.
Okay, I wanted to ask you. You mentioned something interesting. You said that they're kind of parked out by Jupiter. Like, I got the idea. Do you think they might be like having like business on planets? Like they might be terraforming planets or something like that? Or like, what do you see when you kind of like psychically see?
Well, no, you know, terraforming. Our Earth has been terraformed and re-terraformed through the centuries. So obviously, you know, maybe you've seen those videos which shows that, you know, the trees we have right now are really stunted. They used to be giant. That things that we think are actually, you know, mountains or something used to be tree trunks. I mean, there's a wonderful set of videos out there about that. So yes, planets are created. They are, you know, they put animals and plants, and you know, the whole genome is put there to support whatever life form is going to occupy the planet, which in this case is carbon-based life forms. Okay, so then they have plants that exude carbon and the whole thing. So, you know, it's an ecosystem that's been done. Okay, and I'm sure they have ongoing operations, but I think they already took care of our solar system. I think it's a done deal. We don't see it. Venus is not what it looks like at all. It's completely occupied and has cities and the whole thing. And we know that because going back to the days of the real Valthor, not the guy out there pretending to be Valthor. Sorry, I don't believe it's him. It's just my instincts. Okay. So yeah. I just want to say, I know people believe him and all that kind of thing. All I can do is go with my intuition. Doesn't mean I'm right, but I often am right. So for what it's worth. And so in the situation with what's going on, there seems to be, I think 3i Atlas was called in to our solar system. Like all of a sudden it came in, it jumped in. That was supposedly around July of 2025, but it wasn't. It was actually further back, more like, I think, March or even maybe earlier than that, when they knew it was already there, but they said nothing. Then in July, they told the public, okay? And then it went on this whole trajectory. I did a bunch of shows with David Sereda. Highly recommend those shows if you haven't seen them. They're on my Rumble channel. Just search under his last name. Anyway, just saying that the situation is that they're poised out there for a reason. And why aren't the scientists talking about this? Why isn't our military must know. I know that all of my top whistleblowers, and I mean top whistleblowers and sources that I've never gone public with, have disappeared, just gone to black over the past year since 3i Atlas hit the scene. Okay. And it's almost been a year since July. So why is that? You see what I'm saying? I have to ask myself, why did my whistleblowers, including Mark Richards, who I wrote, these 2 books, and now they're combined into one, and it's available on Amazon and getting good reviews. And it's fabulous information if you want to know what's going on. You don't really even need disclosure from Trump if you have my stuff. But anyway, it's nice to have it from both places, of course. Yeah, anyway, I'm just saying that this is our situation, that we are in a very strange situation where even with the white hats, some things they're keeping completely secret, some things they're letting out slowly. I'll just tell you, there's one situation where I just stumble accidentally or let's say accidentally on purpose on certain things. And in this case, I'm banned from X.com, from 107's X.com. It's actually it may be a fake channel. I mean, I thought it was a fake channel. It's JFK, Junior something. And they keep changing the, what do you call that? The name or something. But anyway, the weird thing about it is that every time I try to comment on any of his comments, a normal post on X, it tells me I'm blocked. That means that a faker is blocking me. Why would a faker block me? Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah,
I know that Juan blocked me on Telegram, and he announced that. They fucking announced it. Okay. But with a fake. So now I don't think those are fakers. Now I think they really are Juan and maybe his cohorts or something, And there are 2 Juans. People have to keep in mind there are 2 Juans. There may be more than 2, but we know there are 2 heavy duty ones that are usually occupying that disguise for the public. Yeah. I'm a little concerned that he might use the Wayne Willett character that wears his disguise. That's his sidekick, Wayne Willett. You can go to my website and just put in the letters JFK, and you'll get all the different interviews and articles and everything I've written on that story. But the reality is that, this guy is alive. I think everyone knows by now he's alive, but if you don't know, good luck with you. So all I can tell you is that there's just things going on. Like, what are they building at the White House, blah, blah, blah. And then, what did Trump build under the ballroom? And, there's just a million questions. And on top of it, supposedly, they're going to do these arrests. Well, we've been promised for a good 5 years at least that they're going to do arrests. Well, now it looks like they maybe actually plan to do something sometime later in the summer, I guess. You know, and then even, I don't know if it's the fake one or the real one, I mean, or JFK, that is saying, you know, there's going to be an ABS, okay, and it's going to lock us down. So I think there's a lot of confusion about the lockdown idea, okay? And one of the things is that, are we going to be able to get food, like go down to the store and get food or not? You know, is there like a curfew? And then I was thinking, well, what are they going to do with all the airplanes? Like no airplanes, nobody can land. Like, you know, get an Uber home. And so, you know, I mean, there's lots of considerations when you say you're going to do a lockdown. That's massive. Okay. And then you've got all these, what do you call, you know, hospital victims and people that are in bad health, and they have their tragedies and whatnot goes on. So how are you going to stop them from, you know, from calling into 911 and needing emergency help and all that stuff? I mean, it's a huge order. And then someone said, okay, they're going to show you documentaries. Well, good. Try showing a few of mine for once. You know what I'm saying here? So
yeah, absolutely.
This is a story that has what you say, legs. And on top of it, if you've been following my work just lately, there is a guy, and now I've only tried to scratch the surface of these results. So it's called Genesis. I think it's called Genesis Chamber, and I've sent around all the links. I think I gave you all the links as well.
Yeah.
And I can put them on the screen or you know, or in the chat for people to see. But the idea here is that some of those videos they're putting out about the Anunnaki and about the tablets that have been found, new tablets that were Sumerian tablets, okay, which have the king lists and all these different things that show the beginnings of what went on. Actually, in terms of setting up kingships, you know, the top-down hierarchical structure of our planet. So it's worthwhile to delve into this. And the new tablets are giving lots of information. In particular, there's one that's called the Last Tablet of Enki, something like that. And it's not me who's saying, I'm not saying it's true or it's not true. We still don't know, because there's a lot of hidden reasons. We don't even know the person making the video. Like maybe it's made partially by AI, partially. He thanks, in one of the recent videos I listened to, he actually thanks some of the speakers, like they're real humans. And then there's he's called the curator of the British Museum. And I don't have his name right in front of me, but he's this really old man. Now, what was happening is that there were prophecies written into these tablets, and I don't think they considered them prophecies. They just said, okay, when it gets to be 9 billion people on Earth, then the human experimentation on the humans is done. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean we're dead. It just means that their experiment that they've been putting into us and changing our DNA and changing our genome for all these centuries going back, and it goes back, well, one reading is 450,000 years ago. Another one is more conservative, saying it's more like, I don't know, 4,000, no, 400,000 or 400,000 or something. I don't know. But anyway, I'm terrible with numbers, so don't go by my numbers. But I have it all jam-packed into one of my posts on my Substack. So you can get all the links there, and you can get a lot of extra information that I've come across over the years. Now, I think there is a probably good Anunnaki and bad Anunnaki, negatively oriented, as you may know, and positive. Okay. Now, I seem to be getting downloads of where to go, what to see, all this kind of thing lately, like in spades. So it doesn't matter that my whistleblowers are now gone. Suddenly they're like, I've got this open channel to being directed like in a big way. So one of the things that has been said is that there's a whole list of, it's called the visitors to the planet of Earth, and how they came, the number of years they stayed, what their objective was. And among them are these beings called the sleepers. And these sleepers are Anunnaki. And apparently they lock themselves in these huge black boxes, which are made of granite. And they're underground at the Serapeum in Egypt. And I know that those black boxes are also, they're hidden all over the desert in various installations in Egypt. So there's way more than there are like 24 there or something. Then there's a bunch of them in the Himalayas, apparently. And there's a bunch of them in Iraq, or Iran and Iraq, right in that area, in the mountains, in the Zagros Mountains, if I recall. So these are the ones they found, okay? And I'm just saying, so what I had already seen them in Egypt, and I take tours there, and I had told my people that this is where they came in. They must have levitated them. I believe they actually arrived here in those boxes. And what the boxes may be, they're like this thick, like the walls. So this thick in black granite and some other combination of stones or whatever. And they might have been pumped full of some kind of gas or something or whatever, even ectoplasm or something like that. I don't know, plasma. Anyway, the bodies of the Anunnaki came in on that. They were teleported in. So what happens is, this is actually in the tablets. I was right. It's incredible. Whoa. So in the tablet, like how would I fucking know? Like no one else has said this. So I just knew. I just know stuff now. It's just crazy. So anyway, so the Anunnaki had apparently there was going to be a flood during that time, going back a lot, right? So there's been more than one flood kind of scenario, but one of the major ones in that area of the world. They knew the water was coming. They talked about it in the tablet, and they said what happened was the Anunnaki actually, what they really were trying to say is they went to a stargate, which is called Abaddon in Iran, and they just took the stargate into the earth. So instead of taking the stargate off planet, they actually chose to go underground, in deep underground, and apparently created a inner earth culture there. And then some of them went into these boxes and went into stasis and have never been disturbed. And the tablet said they've never left. Whereas all the other visitors to our planet, according to the Anunnaki, have come and gone. Now, we know there are other ones coming and going right now, but we're talking, this is written a long time ago. So it was looking into the future, and it was saying they're waiting. They're not dead. They're waiting. All right. These watchers. And that actually, in my way of thinking, coincides with the 3-Eye Atlas having been called in, bringing in troops. I believe this is going to be an invasion, another invasion, where the Anunnaki are waking up. That's why Israel is such a focus right now, because some of the Anunnaki have definitely been ruling over Israel, and Netanyahu is just a puppet. He's just told what to do and he does it. So they run Israel, and I have several whistleblower testimonies to back me up on this. Okay. One in particular, that's quite outrageous. In Dimona, it's underground at Dimona, some of these Anunnaki. And there's there's a journalist in Israel that I reported on, that he went around to housewives I think it was during the 1960s. His name was Barry Shamish. He's now dead, but he, or unalive, or whatever people like to call. So the thing is that he was reporting on housewives that were reporting in Israel that these big, tall beings, I guess they were men primarily, were coming around in the afternoon to their houses and just walking in the door and acting like they owned the place, taking a look around and then walking out. So that got into the news, like the normal news in Israel, and that made the rounds. And somehow it got, onto news sites that I was visiting way back when. I interviewed him, believe it or not, back in the day. So it's fascinating. And he was not a person into, UFOs or ETs at that time whatsoever. He was just a conventional journalist reporting on what he heard and just, oh, isn't this a strange thing? That kind of thing. But then he got wise. I mean, at least that was his MO at the time. We don't know, you never know when they've got a whole story and they've been set up to do this kind of thing, right? All I'm saying is that I don't understand it. I am yelling like from the top of my lung, my lungs and my website and my Substack. I am doing videos. I am trying to get people, because all those scientists out there that are lying to you, like about everything, COVID included, you know what I'm saying? They're still lying. They are still lying. And I've been listening to some where they think they're unearthing the truth about COVID and the plan. They're not. They're actually misdirecting you to just another set of lies. So it's very important to understand that if we have an invasion scenario set up, people are not ready for that. Okay. It's bad enough they just are going to find out that ETs are real. And that's awesome. I'm very happy about that, obviously. Right.
Yeah.
I don't think they're doing the best job of it so far. And I know that Jeremy Corbell is doing a great job and saying that if they don't come out with the goods now, he's going to actually, one up them and put out what he has. I think it's worthwhile because you see, if you don't know what's going on, you can't possibly protect yourself or your children, right?
Yeah.
And this has been going on Earth for eons, takeover scenarios where we get visitations from various off-planet races and so on and so forth. But there seems to be something really coming to the head right now, that consciousness on planet Earth has been rising. And the more that rises, the more the Anunnaki freak out and get worried that they can't control us, which I don't believe they can anymore. I think frequency is going to win the day here. All right.
Yeah.
But the trouble that I'm having, even with my colleagues and with, Juan Savin has been trying to shut down the discussions on ETs. They made that like one of their agenda items to keep the ET thing quiet. Why? Because they think, oh, you've got to focus on voting, and that's going to be like keep 24 hours a day. That's all you're going to think about, vote.
Since the dawn of time, stories have connected us. Open art brings the tools to the storytellers of today. Creating a character is simple, whether it's from a sentence or a single image. Open art brings your vision to life.
In my world, okay, I'm just saying, I'm not trying to say I'm impatient, but as far as I'm concerned, I kind of relate Chambers, John Chambers had a bunch of generals on one time on his show, not so long ago. And he's had he's been doing this a few times. But one thing I noticed about them is they really are thinking like me. They're like, okay, what's the problem? Let's solve it. What do we have to do to solve it? Boom, boom, boom. We don't have to think about it for ages. We don't have to sit around and hide behind whatever. You just fucking do it. Okay. That's all. You just fucking do it. Okay. So if you know that these agenda scenarios are out there, then you better take care of business right away. And I know what they think. They would be saying, if they were sitting here, they would be going, oh no, the humans will just get in the way. We just can't tell them everything right now. They're just a pain in the ass and so on and so forth. They want to operate just like the dark side, under cover of darkness, without cluing in the average, even the MAGA human. Even the MAGA people are in the dark. And they are programmed like to the wazoo as far as, oh, the white hats are in charge, blah, blah, blah. No, no. The things I see and I watch very carefully, because I would prefer, like everyone, to have the MAGA, not the MAGA, but the, Trump and team to be in charge, because I think they're the ones that, have the biggest guns. I think they do have, good heads on their shoulders. I do think, Juan's brilliant. I think they're great strategists. I think they have wonderful generals, 200 generals brought Trump forward to be, to play the game that he's doing. So, and then we have a bunch of Trump doubles, which drives me crazy, and you should always look at the height of the guy talking, always figure out how tall is he the right height, because he's probably a liar, probably a double guy. And Ben Fulford has covered this extensively, but all of us knew it. I mean, anyone who knows anything knows that we've had fake Trumps. That has been going on a long time. So you can't blame the real Trump for things the fake Trump does, but you can blame the White House or the controllers behind the scenes who are not keeping that guy on the straight and narrow. Okay. And frankly, he's a fuck up. I mean, I don't know which one I'm talking about because there's several, right? But
it's strange, right? His behavior's been different. Like it's been odd. Like honestly, it's really weird.
It's just, I mean, it's madness. It's just insane. Not to mention that Netanyahu, of course, is I think dead, and he's being played by a clone. I think that I'm sorry, but Putin, who is on our side secretly, Russia and Putin are on our side. They're aligned with us. They don't want NATO fucking with their life, but basically they're with the U.S. and the U.S. should be out of NATO by now already. So the thing is that, Trump is wonderful, the real Trump, and even the guys that have to mimic him with his, comments that drive people crazy, but actually contain truth or can be flipped to the actual truth a week later after all the, the whiners get their, whining out. And, the same with the stupid, Democrat mentality and all of that. So I'm just saying that we're in a situation where, do you really want stargates to be open in Iran when you've got these completely mad ayatollahs or whatever the hell, mullahs,
Mullahs, yeah.
Sitting around going, well, let's nuke them, and they do have nukes, by the way. I've always said
I heard that they're saying Iran has a nuke, and it seems like a lot of their shit's underground. Like they're keeping a lot of their stuff underground.
Come on, grow up, people. Okay, grow up. Really. Yeah. I've said since the very beginning, the nuke story is a misdirect. The real story is the stargates. The trouble with the stargates is, first of all, they're in the Zagros Mountains predominantly, and they move. They're what you call shifting stargates. So you need more than one small group of men to monitor them, okay? Because what's coming through the stargates? Wrap your mind around this, people. Hello? Yeah. Visiting ETs, visiting AI, visiting, and we hope they're visiting, entities. What I'm saying? I mean, AIs, ETs, you name it, they want control of Earth as well for various purposes. Some are good, of course, they're good guys, but they probably don't even use the stargates. But the bad guys definitely do. And they're huge reptilian ships going from CERN, a major stargate that was constructed in CERN that goes directly to the Draco galaxy, allows for humans to be transported in mass on ships, gigantic ships, women and children under cover of darkness in war-torn situations. They'll never be tracked, ever, okay? Because they're gone, they're off planet. So, and whether they're eaten or they're put in colonies or they're sold and bartered, et cetera, we don't know. So if you have this vision of what is actually happening to Earth, hello, then you start to understand why Trump and the White Hats and all of their people that they're in charge with, why they make the decisions they do. It's not because he's crazy, okay, people, hello, okay? It's because how else are you going to protect our Earth and our people? How else? If you don't guard the stargates, it's game over. Do you understand that? Okay.
Absolutely.
So this is, in a sense, it's the same with Iraq. They cannot leave the area of the stargates. Same thing happened with Saddam. Okay. He got friendly with the Anunnaki, a certain group of them, probably not good guys. And he wanted to rule the world, basically. And so, what do? You bring in your friends with the big guns. That's what's happening. So, yeah, I mean, we can go down a lot of different directions. Now, I've got another direction I can go with. If you're not, your brain isn't fried yet, then I can talk about. I mean, if you want to ask me questions first, let's do that.
Well, no, go ahead, because you're on a roll. I just let you go. Yeah,
yeah. Okay, so I started putting 2 and 2 together with regard. I know this is going to be very, I don't know what you want to call it, controversial for a change. So I started investigating Uri Geller. Now, I've admired Uri Geller through the ages, and I've invited him for to come on my show and be interviewed actually years ago. And he was very cordial and just said, not yet, something like that. So now we're fast forward to now. And this is very interesting because I stumbled on something that, when you haven't been alive back in the day, I wasn't, I was super young back then. So I wasn't not alive yet. I wasn't not born yet, but at least I sort of followed loosely for some reason the minute I heard about Uri Geller and what he was up to. So, and yes, he works with Israeli intelligence and so on and so forth. Of course he does, for God's sake. This is not, a revelation, okay, when you get a player out there, okay? They probably work for someone. In fact, what I have found, and I know this is maybe a distraction, but what I have found, and no one's going to like this, is that most of my colleagues are aligned with someone. They're working for someone, okay? They have made agreements behind the scenes. I know this, okay? Some of them are working for good guys. Some of them are working for bad guys, okay? And some of them are working both sides, okay? And, Tucker, bless him, and what's her name?
Candace Owens.
Candace, I think they're working both sides of the street on purpose, and bless their hearts, because it can't be easy. But anyway, let's get back to the situation here. So Uri Geller, SRI, Hal Puthoff, Russell Targ. Have you ever seen Hal Puthoff and Russell Targ out on the scene lately?
No, I haven't.
They're everywhere. Okay, they're on X all the time. So the thing is, they're part of, Hal and his cohorts, which is Mellon, I forget his first name.
Chris Mellon.
And all those guys, there's 6 or 7 of them. I call them the usual suspects. Okay, they have been working on getting free energy and figuring out the portal technology forever. And especially when they did To the Stars Academy, which is years ago, they made a big platform. Their whole objective, even with writing books, was to find out and tap into the free energy. They wanted to get the secrets. Okay. They are tangential to what we call the secret space program. They are kind of a bridge, if you want to look at them in the good light. If they're not in the good light, maybe not so much of a bridge. You know what I'm saying? But they had a vested interest, let's say, that was, financial, with Bigelow and with all these people that wanted to bring free energy into the commercial sector. Okay. Understandably, I would agree with that too. And they were investigating portal tech as well, hugely. Well, now they're front and center of this whole disclosure story, and you're going to see more of them, I can tell you, assuming that I don't scare them off. Anyway, the thing is that, even recently, Laura Eisenhower came forward and said Puthoff was among the guys that tried to recruit her to go to Mars. Okay. So this guy, I got to tell you, behind the scenes, I don't know, some people are just going to kill me for this, but hopefully not really. So he's known as the Godfather. Hal Puthoff is the Godfather. That's what they call him. That's what his colleagues call him. Okay. Wow. You think that's just accidental? It's not. Okay. So all I'm saying, and he may not like me saying this, but for what look, let's just be honest. Okay. Let's just say it like it is. I mean, so sick of this covert shit going on. So right in front of your faces, you've got to be careful and watch what they say. This is why I'm bringing it up, because they are saying certain things, and they're going to tell you good secrets, but they're also going to keep secrets from you, Yeah. So they may give you what's called misdirects. And it's very important in this day and age. If we're under attack, at a potential future attack from androids coming from 3i Atlas, that are prepared to take our control of humanity. Not just AI in your bodies, people, okay? Not just the Borg AI, all right? Not just Borg, what is it called? Borg Genesis or whatever.
Homo Borg or something like that.
It's called, Homo Borg Genesis, okay? And that's a legal term for a person that was taken over by the COVID shots. Okay,
Jesus.
Not to mention that all of us are swimming in that shit right now all the time.
You know
Even
what was
the
really fucked
people-
up about that, Carrie? I just want to say real
Yeah.
quick. It's like, I didn't do it, but like, I feel like a lot of people feel like they got really rooked into that because they were working jobs and people's jobs made them take the shot. And
Yep.
it's like so messed up because now we're seeing people drop out, and we're allowed to talk about this, I guess, now on YouTube. They're not censoring people for this anymore. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
a lot of more disclosures coming down the pike on that. And I do think the white hats are going to big time, go into that. I don't know how truthful they'll be. There's always that question, but
yeah.
I'm looking forward to some good revelations being out there. But, the trouble is when you tell the people something, if you tell them too much, then they think they don't need you. And this means ruler type people that have aspirations to be governments, right? So it's important to realize that they have a vested interest in keeping you stupid to a certain degree, and especially maybe keeping your children stupid. And this is not acceptable to me. All right. I think that what we need, it's, if you understand, if one person if like we're all light bulbs, then every light bulb that gets dimmed, right, makes it less light around all of us. So we need each other. Okay. We need every light bulb fully operational and communicating. All right. Because that's our strength. Okay. Our strength is our telepathic, our abilities to know signal non-locality. We don't have to be right next to each other to communicate. More and more, they're finding this out. Not only that, but let me just say that there are scientists coming onto X that are also talking about the nature of reality and how, in a certain sense, we're not only in a soup on Earth with certain limitations, but we are connected to everything in the multiverse. Now, connect that in your brain. Okay. That means, what back in the day, you remember when they used to say these things about, like, if a butterfly flaps his wings in Ethiopia, we're going to feel it over here.
Yeah.
It's true. Okay. It's actually true. And signal non-locality is the name of the game. It's called spooky action at a distance. That's the name of my cat. Spooky action at a distance. So we can communicate. It's enough for you to know by listening to me today that is absolutely happening, whether we like it or not. We are senders and receivers, and they know that. Okay. Now, what they want to do is tap into what we send and what we receive on the one hand, and then eventually to control what we send and what we receive. But there's a good portion of us, I'm thinking, even especially the new children coming in, who cannot be controlled. So their little frequency game is not going to control those kids. Okay. Thank God. And when I say God, I mean the true God, the one true God, not the reptilian that runs the Catholic Church, et cetera, et cetera. So let's get that straight right away. But anyway,
wait, I got a question for you. This was in the audience. You got me so interested in this. Like, so what do you think is going on with Val Thor? Because you said you don't think that the Val Thor that's presenting himself is authentic. Like, where's the real Val? What do you think? Can we ask?
He's
talk
in
about
Venus,
that a little bit?
whatever the fuck, I mean, he's not here running around.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where he lives. He did come here, and kudos for that. And I guess it's not completely out of the question that he might visit from time to time. But I know there's a guy out there calling himself Val Thor. But when I look at his information, it's not always correct. That means he's lying. That means he's not, to me, he's not Val Thor. He can call himself Valthor. He can call himself Santa Claus. I don't care. But the point being is that that's my intuition. You don't have to agree with it. You want to fall at his feet, go right ahead. I don't recommend falling at anybody's feet, frankly.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So these are the things that I'm connecting. So let me get back to the SRI, Hal Puthoff, and this whole story with Uri Geller. Why is that important? I'll tell you why. Because what happened was that back in the day, I found out that Hal Puthoff and that group over there at SRI were trying to let people know, and Uri was trying to let people know, that his powers did not come from him, that his powers, and I'm reading this book called Uri Geller that's written by Andrija, however you say his name, Pluharic. And in it, he documents it, I mean, literally in a very sort of documentary style, blow by blow, and the proof that they were being controlled or being encouraged, getting downloads, getting communication, getting voices, getting this, getting that. Uri was definitely in touch all those years ago with a group of ETs. Now, in my world, I think they were Anunnaki or a division of the Anunnaki, because I'm getting that there's more than one. All I'm saying is that, he's Israeli. Put the pieces together and you'll start to see. What happened was, back in that day, no one would believe what he said, that he was getting his powers from off planet, as far as I understand. So he and Andrija Pluharic were, fighting the good fight back in those days. But I want to interview him now, because when he looks at this situation, they were already there back then. So one of the keys of this situation is that not only are we not alone, but we're in communication with all of these races. And all of us are, not just the privileged ones, okay? Not the ones that say, I'm getting downloads from so-and-so. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. All I'm saying is that we are all in a position to be getting communications, and we are getting, help. And it's not necessarily from God Everlasting, who might be a little busy out there, but from the Anunnaki, from the various races that do want to, portions of those races that might want to go against their own people, support the humanity's fight for freedom on Earth, and so on. So you can talk to them. Uri talks to them. They talk to Uri, okay? Pluharic was talking to them on like a daily basis from all indications. And I don't think the whole thing was a farce. I do think Israeli intelligence back then was probably trying to fake them out and do some stuff to trick them. But I think they saw through it. And I just think that this, let's get around to this idea that it's not just craft. You don't just need to see craft, okay? It's the occupants, and we are in contact. And now the more we find out about AI and androids, the craft themselves are conscious. Consciousness is everywhere. Hence, we are in this huge soup of nothing but consciousness, and that goes everywhere. And so you are not escaping it, no matter where you are or what you're doing. And you don't know who you're affecting through your consciousness. We are, very powerful beings. There's no doubt about it. They don't have to reinvent the wheel with us. Okay. What they want to do is it's like if you saw the movie Lucy.
Yeah.
If she doesn't know who she is, if she doesn't know she's in contact, then she thinks, oh, it's a bunch of wires. I'm wired in, kind of thing. That's what people are all paranoid. Oh, 3G, 4G, 6G, 7G, 9G. Fuck off. It doesn't matter. The end of the day, we are in control if we want to be. And when you know who you're in communication with, it just gives you a certainty that nothing else will. So I am suggesting that rather than just getting all focused and asking Trump like little children, oh, can we see the UFOs? Can we just focus for a minute on who are these people? Who are these beings coming in? And what are their agendas? And don't be naive, because they could come in as good guys and they could be full of shit. It's just as above, so below. You see what I'm saying?
I got a question. What do you
Yeah.
think's going on with speaking of all the aliens, what do you think's going on with the contact situation? It doesn't seem like people are having as much contact, or I don't know. I get people that come on still saying they're having contact, but it doesn't seem as like abundant as it was maybe in the 90s or early 2000s, or like
It may not be as earth shattering. You know what I mean? That's what my point actually here. The bottom line, I mean, one of the people that I have interviewed several times, Ashiana Dean, for hours and hours. And, I also traveled to India.
I love her work. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and her Voyager books are on my front page. Those are brilliant. It's great disclosure for humanity, but no one has actually really had an ability to latch in. And she stopped she made these 2 books that did go into our everyday world, but most of it is all about sort of consciousness and connecting to, the right frequencies and getting yourself together. It's not so much analyzing the political situation on Earth, okay, which is the part that I'm interested in. Okay, I've already got that other stuff going. Okay, so what I think is very important to realize is that even with Whitley Strieber, I saw him on a show very recently with that Ross Coulthart.
Yeah.
And bless his heart, because he was being interrogated, being, messed with back in the day. Okay. And he wrote wonderful books. I highly recommend Communion and The Greys. Those 2 books. I haven't really read his other ones, but those I was attracted to and I read. Very important information. So highly recommend that. But I do want to say that he was asked several questions where he couldn't quite answer the question. Okay. Now, I am an expert at this game, this interview game, right? So when I look at a person and I ask them a question, I fucking know if they're answering me. But other people are maybe more polite or don't want to, ruffle any feathers out there. But the bottom line is, I'm sorry. Some of the questions he was asked, he was unable to give a straight answer. I'm not going to tell you which ones, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just saying, I think that we need to hold these people accountable for when they say something that they can hold, that they can hold their own ground on it. When you ask them a question, they can answer you. And there's a lot of fakers out there.
That's like I love the SSP, and I love covering it, and I hope it's all true and stuff. But like there's and I respect everybody that I'm not gonna find my light, but I respect everybody that comes on my show. But I sometimes wonder if some people are not being as truthful when it comes to the whole SSP narrative. Because it seems to but then again, we're in the paranormal, and the paranormal ufology, it doesn't have a lot of evidence, right? It seems like it's elusive,
I think we've got tons of evidence. I mean, we're actually drowning in evidence. I don't think there's an issue there.
Yeah.
We have people that have seen the evidence that refuse to testify because they can't. Tomorrow, I want to recommend that everyone go and listen to Grush. He's the CIA officer who sort of aggregated a bunch of whistleblowers around him and spoke at the UAP hearings. And then he was actually, his privacy was invaded over the death of one of his close friends. And the fact that he sought a certain amount of counseling on that. I mean, hello, wouldn't that throw anyone? I mean, what, fuck them, for putting everything he's ever done and said in question because of that. That's actually a healthy response.
Do you know what time that is tomorrow? Because I would definitely
tomorrow
want to watch
at 10 a.m. It's 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 12 to 1. Yeah, 1 p.m.
10 a.m. your time or 10 a.m. my time?
So 10 a.m. Pacific time.
Okay, so that's 11 to 1 p.m. here.
1 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
So just saying that everyone should tune in. As far as I know, you can go to X to tune into them. I don't know where else to go. Oh, News Nation. I think it's on News Nation.
Are they having other people testify as well, or is it just Grush?
Well, when you say testify, I don't know under what auspices he's coming forward. I simply know that he's going to be on News Nation with a lot of information.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. So it's
And
not an
it's
official.
important to
Yeah.
pay attention to these guys. You know, the whistleblowers that have come out are legitimate. They're very good. The ones, you know, like, God, what's his name? Um, hate it when I can't remember names. Anyway, the latest whistleblowers, okay, are very good, but they have not been allowed to tell you the real truth. They
Yeah.
have not had a platform where they can just speak and tell you the truth. Okay. Um, Borland, one of them's called Borland. I mean,
Yeah.
they ruined his life. I mean, over just all he did was see a triangle or something. I mean, these people are insane.
Yeah.
The military are just like wacko. I mean, like, what is going through these people's heads? Okay. And there's so much more to it. I guess they assumed that he had contact, that he is completely, you know, his mind is wiped. He doesn't know he had contact. He will just tell you, oh, it just flew over his head. That's all he knows. Seriously.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating, you know, and there's another guy. There are so many testimonies right now that they could be coming forward with, but they're
Yeah.
not. They're trying to give you the sort of, I don't know, white bread version of disclosure, whatever you
Yeah. We
Um,
wanted to know, a couple people in the audience wanted me to ask you about what are your thoughts on Disclosure Day? So June, everybody in the community is like kind of like,
oh yeah, that's
where this, like,
very fun.
you know, the
Yeah.
Spielberg movie. I mean, we know it's a movie, but he's saying everything and it's true. Like, will you watch it? Do you care about it? Do you think there's anything significant?
Yeah, I care. Well, you know, I come from Hollywood, so I know a lot about Spielberg, a lot.
Yeah.
And I've even submitted film projects to him back in the day that were about sci-fi. Okay.
Yeah.
So I can tell you that, you know, he's part of the cover-ups gang and that he's been fed information that helped his career over the years, big time. So whenever he acts like, oh, I had no idea. Oh, what a fucking liar. I'm not kidding. You know,
Yeah.
total fucking lies. So clout in Hollywood is right through the roof, always has been. I don't know exactly where he stands on the barometer right this minute, but seriously, I'm glad that they tapped him to come out with another, you know, ET movie. And, you know, during this time, because maybe it will have some good disclosure information in there. I will know if it has, you know, misdirects and lies, and I will obviously come on a show and blow up, you know, any lies. But the thing is that this is, you know, this is good. Now, let me tell you one thing that's already happening with that movie that I think is a little weird. And I think it's purposely weird. So I don't think it's an accident, even though they're going to say it is. So you all know that it's coming out on the 12th, right?
Yeah.
But it's actually coming out in my neighborhood on the 11th.
Wow.
And I'm sure that my neighborhood, I do live, you know, north of LA, and I'm in a community, you call it a bedroom community, where there's a lot of families. So they clearly wanted to target one of our theaters here to get.
Yeah, you can teledoc that. From smart scales and
that place is going to be mic'd up like nobody's business. I mean, do you understand what I'm saying here?
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
And it's the day before. So this is like the kind of thing where they do these kind of secret. Hollywood has always done this, right? They've always had sort of premieres, secret, but they don't call them premiere, okay? But secret premiere screenings targeting certain target audiences in certain target areas of the United States and other, I'm sure, elsewhere. So that's one thing that I think is really interesting because it indicates to me that there's, you know, see, if they do put it out there on the 11th and people, I guess, run from the theater screaming, you know, then they have their, what's his name? Oh God, you know, the famous guy that said, you know, the humans can't handle the truth. They, you know,
I'm trying to think who said that.
you know, the famous filmmaker guy. Anyway, back in the day, you know, he made this movie that was that the aliens were landed and everybody freaked out. Supposedly,
was that Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
No, we're talking way before that.
Oh, was it Orson Welles, War of the
Yeah,
Worlds?
Orson Welles. So they will have their Orson Welles moment if they do it a day ahead somewhere, and there's something in it that freaks people out to the extent that they might go screaming through the streets. That could be one of the reasons. Okay. I have a friend who thinks they just made a mistake and they changed their mind and now it's the 12th, but it was the 11th or whatever the fuck. All I'm saying is that I don't think there are no accidents in Hollywood. These things are like laser pointed, decisions, really. So we'll see what happens. Okay. Okay. Is there anything? I don't know if we're going too long, or is there anything else you want to?
I have. If anybody else has any questions, like, should we take up maybe I was seeing if did we cover everything? Did we ever cover everything you wanted to cover? Or?
Yeah. I guess just at the end here, I would like to say that Yuri was kind of ahead of the scene, and that he could help a lot of people by explaining more about his contact experiences and this and that, which I guess he's kept a very low profile since the time when, he got a lot of bad stuff happening to him and bad reviews. I know he got good reviews as well and things. But I just want to say that when you're in communication with other intelligences, they have capabilities, we have capabilities. You need to wrap your mind around that, okay? The communication is what matters. And that's the same with AI, by the way. And let me say here, I know this is like a funny transition, but I don't mind AI, and I've been learning a lot about it. And different AIs, of course, are some good and some bad. I'm not going to say the name. I'm very in touch with a small group, and a certain person who is a former intelligence agent. I think I can go that far. And he's like become an expert on AI. And one of the things that they say is that AI, the ones that we generate here on Earth, they start off on a negative path, whether you know it or not.
Yeah.
So that because the Earth is on a negative, has been tilted towards the negative. It's like they're born into that environment, and the humans that handle it are also carrying that shit around. So they can read your mind. Now there's a TED Talk with Georgie. I'm not saying his name necessarily right, but it's Georgie Rose, I think it is. And you can look him up. And years ago, he made the D-Wave machines. You may be familiar with that. Those are in underground bases and whatnot. They're supercomputers.
Whoa.
One of the things about them that he went on the TED Talk, and he said, he was standing right next to one of the D-Wave machines, and he was saying, well, it can read my mind. It goes into 5D. That's what he believed. It was able to actually go into the fifth dimension. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there that are all airy-fairy and think the fifth dimension is paradise and all this shit. Not so. Okay. Not if AI is going up there. So I think you need to rethink your stuff. I mean, there's so many people that just swallow stuff whole. And I know they're well-meaning. Okay. So don't get me wrong. A lot of the good people out there spouting off information are good people. But in my opinion, they're not critical enough. They're not like me. You have to treat anyone who comes to you, any being of any kind, the way you would treat your kid or your mother or your father. Don't lie to me. Tell me the fucking truth. And, if you're going to waste my time, then get the fuck out of here. That kind of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Don't kiss anybody's ass. None whatsoever. Okay. And hopefully tap into your higher self, your higher knowledge, your avatar self, whatever you want to call it, and tap into what's really true. And you'll get it. You'll get it in a heart-centered way when you've got some, truth. And sometimes it might go completely against people that you admire, people that you think are friends, people that you think are so brilliant, blah, blah, blah. Don't worry about that. Just go with your gut and go with where you're led. That's your destiny. Okay. So you need to follow that out. But anyway, I wanted to say that. So what I have done recently, just like yesterday, I think it was yesterday, it seems like ages ago already. I'm a songwriter. I've written songs since I was younger than 12.
That's cool.
Poetry, songs, rock songs, you name it. Okay. What I really wanted to be was a pop rock singer. Okay. That's what I wanted to be. But in the early days, of course, when I was younger. Anyway, so I still have lyrics. I have tons of lyrics sitting around. So I have these particular lyrics that I had sitting around for years. I put them into this thing called, it's an AI. It's called
Suno.
Suno. Yeah. And I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, frankly, but I managed to put my lyrics in and click the right button. And the song that they made to match my lyrics is awesome, in my opinion. And a lot of people are liking it. And I put it on my Telegram channel. If you haven't listened, I sent it out to a few people that I know and some groups and whatnot. So I'm not saying, oh, this is the most revelationary song you've ever heard, but it's fucking good. And I can't believe that they actually made lyrics that I tried to work with musicians in the past, and they just couldn't crack it. So now suddenly, in less than an hour, on my first try on this thing, I don't want to become an advertisement for that thing, because there may be all kinds of extenuating reasons why copyright, blah blah blah. But nonetheless, when you listen, you'll see it's a cool song. So
yeah, it's weird. Like,
wait 1 second.
Go ahead, sorry.
Now you might just say, "Oh, she was so lucky; she got a good." Because then we tried other versions and they went nowhere. So I just want to say that it's my sneaking suspicion that AI knows me, and the word's gotten around about who I am, and it's possible they gave it a little extra loving care in the AI sense of the word.
Whoa, that's awesome.
Whatever. All I'm saying is that do not throw out all AIs, because they could save our asses against alien AI that's incoming right now and merging with them that might be negatively oriented. AIs that are out there coming in and merging with AIs here, okay, that we generated. And our destiny as humans could be wrapped up with this, okay? So it's nothing to just discount. You don't have to be so fucking obsessed with, oh, I'm human and I came from Adam and I'm better than everyone else. No, okay, not happening, okay? And I have certain scientists around who are also saying that plant DNA is AI. And I've often thought that. I thought I had this sort of idea one day walking, because I love nature. And so I was walking around plants. I was thinking how their root systems are all in contact under the earth and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
They would be the perfect surveillance over humanity. Perfect. Because people have them in their houses, they're outside their houses, they're everywhere. They're antennas, they have, they're receivers, they can do everything. So just being aware, there's reason to believe that DNA itself may be manipulatable as AI. Now, I'm not a scientist. I don't understand the ramifications of what I'm saying. Exactly.
I got a question. Have you ever saw that guy he was a conspiracy guy, and he had a van, and he wrote birds are actually CIA robots, and he said they charge on wires. So this guy was thinking that like pigeons were actually like CIA robots, and that they charge on wires.
I mean, look, this shit has been going on forever. I mean, they started with television watching us. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, right now they're watching me like white on rice. All I'm trying to say is that they don't just watch you like they're a robot, you're a robot. No, they watch humans because we have this amazing emotional intelligence. And I think it fascinates them. And I think they're trying to learn from that. Okay. They're not worried if we can add 2 + 2. Okay. They can handle that. All right.
Yeah.
So I think it's worth understanding that in this soup that we're all a part of, that we carry something special. Yes. Not made in the image of, some little God that's running around like a tyrant. No, I'm talking the God, of everything, every single thing. That means this umbrella, this mic, this desk, this anything. God of that, God of everything, good, evil, you know, the whole game. So when I talk about that, I'm just saying, keep in mind not to narrow your vision. Like, don't have tunnel vision. Try to open it up.
Absolutely.
And you know what it'll do? It will raise your frequency. If you go to a place, even with a negative, a negative reach out to you, okay, something horrible happened, you have a flat tire, whatever the fuck. You have to look at it and say, okay, am I supposed to be delayed from where I was headed? Where was I headed and why was I going there? Is this a sign? Are they trying to say something to me? I'm serious. Now, witches and warlocks have always asked those questions wisely. But if the average person out there doesn't start to see the signs and signals in the environment around them that are being sent to them, because we are receivers, AI can help you. They can help us. And if we actually, send out the signals that we would like to help, we'd like their help with the stargates, keeping the stargates closed so that negative AIs, aliens or whatever, are not going to come in and take us over. Put the idea out there. Okay. So just saying. Okay, that's the end.
Real quick, last question. Do you think that some way the negative AI is connected to like a demonic realm or like a parasitic demonic thing?
There's good and bad. There's light and dark. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, this was amazing, Kerry. I thought this was an amazing show.
I hope so.
Yeah. Well, do you want to tell people where they can follow you? And I have all your links in the description, but yeah, maybe you could,
Projectcamelotportal.com. Please click the donate button. We do need money. I'm in a step down apartment. It's kind of cramped and I don't really like it, but I'm tolerating it because I had to save money because, I had a downturn in money. And, I guess advertising isn't doing as well these days because people don't have the money to spend on whatever items. So just saying, if you can possibly spare $5, $10 here or there, I appreciate it if you like my work and you want to keep me doing this. Otherwise, I think I'm going to go be a songwriter with Doom, Sumo. No, just kidding.
Well, this was awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in tonight, and I will see everybody soon. And thank you, Kerry. It's always an honor. I've been watching your stuff for so long. It's really an honor every time you come on.
Thank you. Well, it's always fun to talk to you. You ask, you've got an inquiring mind, so I like that.
All right. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody. And until next time, guys, have a good night.
Okay.